Good morning, family. Welcome to today's Lessons for Life. Today is Thursday, August 6, 2009, and today we're reading 1 Kings chapter 20. And as always, I encourage you first to read it for yourself, see what you get from it. Email us, we'll put it on the blog. But we see here the chapter, there's a couple of things you can get from it, but what I want to bring up for Lessons for Life is actually even a continuation of some stuff we saw yesterday, because the king of Syria, you see, he's really trying to intimidate King Ahab. And at first, King Ahab is actually given into, from how I was reading it, he's given into what the king of Syria is saying, Ben-Hadad. And he afterwards consults the elders, and then he kind of refuses what the king of Syria wants. So, you know, it seems so insurmountable. The king of Syria has such a vast army, such a great, large number of army, and according to the king of the children of Israel, which is King Ahab, then it's something that he can't overcome. So he starts to give in to him. But remember what we learned yesterday, that nothing is as bad as it first appears. So after considering it for a while and now refusing him, you see what the end result was as you read through the chapter, was that King Ahab actually was able to, in spite of the numbers that the king of Syria had, King Ahab was able to defeat him and be victorious over him. So like we said yesterday, we're continuing on with that same lesson, or just another example of that same principle, that nothing is as bad as it first appears. So when things come to you, you got to really gather yourself, take a chance, and look at the situation, step back for a moment, and don't go with your how you might be in fear at the beginning, or you might think something is too much for you, but really sit back, step back, and reevaluate it, see how it is, and you'll be able to actually respond more appropriately if you do that, because it's not as bad as it may first appear to you, or it's not as insurmountable, it's not as overwhelming as it might appear to you at first. So that was definitely one lesson I saw. But as you read through, of course, and if you remember from a couple of chapters ago, we read about King Ahab, which he wasn't doing correct by the Lord anyway. But at the end of the chapter, you see once again that he doesn't really finish what he was supposed to do. He was supposed to destroy even the king of Syria, and he doesn't do that. So then, of course, there's a punishment that's going to be involved with that for King Ahab. So what I want to bring up even for Lessons for Life in regards to that was that what King Ahab didn't do was completely remove that obstacle that was in front of him, those from the kingdom of Syria or whatever. The Lord had wanted him everything to be destroyed, but then he left like a little peephole, I would say, another chance for something else to creep up if he didn't destroy all of them. So another thing that I believe that we can get from this, and I got from it as I was reading it, was when there's something that we overcome, or a challenge or obstacle, because we may not be going to wars or going into battles like how we see the children of Israel and so forth, but when there's a challenge that we have to face and we overcome it, then we should completely remove that obstacle from out of our lives, and not leave any chance to entertain being snared up in that obstacle again. So that was another lesson I got from it, even because we've seen this before in the past too, but the Lord told someone to destroy everything, and they didn't do that. So he left a chance that something else might creep up and come back and get them. So if there's an obstacle, like I said, in our lives that we're able to overcome, and we're have supposedly moved past it, when we move past it, we should put everything that is still with it, we should completely remove it out of our lives. A good example of this would be, let's say, someone who was into alcohol or drinking or whatever, and they were able to overcome their problem with alcohol. Then they shouldn't entertain by having a sip every once in a while, or taking there's a particular holiday or whatever and just having a little bit, because if you've overcome it, then you should completely remove it out of your life, not giving it a chance to actually creep back up into your life. So that was just how we can even apply that lesson, and it goes for a lot of different things as you see in your life. But when we overcome something, we should completely remove it out, and that's what the Lord had wanted him to do when they were to completely annihilate those of Syria. But King Ahab, of course, didn't listen, and like I said, you'll see the repercussions for his disobedience as we continue to read through. But those are two things I got. There's more stuff actually that you can get, I'm sure, as you read through the chapters for yourself. So with that, create yourself a wonderfully blessed day today, and we'll talk again tomorrow.